Some stories hide in plain sight, moments lost between the cracks of time. What if everything you thought you knew was just the beginning? By the way, this channel posts one insight like this every day, so if this breakdown helps you, consider subscribing. We live in a time where our digital devices are always within arm's reach, quietly shaping how we live, work, and connect. It's hard to imagine a day without scrolling, tapping, or swiping, yet more and more people are realizing that this constant digital engagement comes with hidden costs on our focus, our relationships, and even our sense of self. But this isn't a new story. In fact, the struggle to balance technology with our well-being has been unfolding ever since the first smartphone beeped into existence. Take, for example, the so-called infinite scroll, a design feature so simple, yet so powerful that it's changed the way millions consume information. Unlike turning the page of a book or flipping channels on a TV, the infinite scroll removes natural stopping points. You're invited to keep going and going, seamlessly feeding your curiosity and sometimes your anxiety. Consider the personal tales behind this trend. There's the office worker who notices her lunch breaks disappearing into social media feeds, or the teenager who feels the crushing weight of validation through likes and comments, measuring self-worth in numbers rather than experience. These stories aren't isolated incidents. They're the human side of a digitally enhanced world. One fascinating example is the rise of digital detox retreats, which are popping up everywhere from the mountains of Colorado to the beaches of Bali. People voluntarily unplug for days, even weeks, seeking to reclaim clarity, creativity, and calm. What they often find is that stepping away from screens reveals a deeper layer of connection to nature, to others, and most importantly, to themselves. It's as if the noise of notifications and pings had been drowning out a quieter, more authentic rhythm all along. And yet, the conversation around technology and mental health is far from settled. Neuroscientists are diving into how our brains respond to these digital stimuli, uncovering changes in attention spans and emotional regulation. Break time 200 milliseconds platforms themselves are becoming more aware, experimenting with features like time spent dashboards and notification pauses, attempting to nudge users toward healthier habits. Break time 200 milliseconds. But at its core, this issue challenges something timeless. How do we harness tools meant to empower us without letting them control us? Break time 200 milliseconds. How do we stay present amid the endless barrage of information and distraction? Break time 200 milliseconds. It's a question with no easy answers, but it invites us to pause and reflect on our own habits, to ask what stories we want to live, instead of simply consuming the ones fed to us through glowing screens. Break time 200 milliseconds, because sometimes the most profound discoveries happen when we step back just enough to see the bigger picture. Maybe it starts with something as simple as a single conscious moment, putting the phone down, looking up, and noticing the world around us. The warmth of sunlight through a window, the subtle expressions on a loved one's face, or the rhythm of our own breath. These moments, though easily overlooked, are the threads that weave our deeper experience. There's something quietly revolutionary about reclaiming these spaces of stillness. In a culture that prizes speed and constant connectivity, choosing to slow down can feel radical. But it's in these quiet interludes that inspiration often blooms, memories settle, and true connection takes root. Our devices, after all, are tools, extensions of our human desire to communicate, explore, and understand. The challenge lies not in rejecting technology, but in shaping our relationship with it so that it serves us, rather than the other way around. As we move forward, perhaps the story isn't about resisting progress, but about remembering our own agency within it. Recognizing that behind every notification and every scroll is a moment we can choose to engage with, or gently let pass. In the end, it's a balance that each of us will find in our own way, guided by curiosity, reflection, and the simple courage to be present. And sometimes, that's enough to begin rewriting the story for ourselves. Because in these moments of presence, we rediscover something fundamental, our capacity to be fully alive, not just connected or informed. It's a reminder that life's richness isn't measured only in data points or digital affirmations, but in the quiet, unfiltered experiences that often slip unnoticed beneath the surface. The gentle hum of a morning breeze, the soft weight of a book in your hands, the shared laughter that needs no caption. These are the real stories worth holding on to. They remind us that while technology shapes the way our stories unfold, it doesn't define the stories themselves. So maybe the true journey isn't about escaping screens or rejecting the digital world altogether. Instead, it's about learning to navigate it with intention, letting it enhance rather than eclipse the things that matter most. And as we learn to find that rhythm, perhaps the greatest gift we can offer ourselves and each other is the openness to be present, to listen, to see, and to simply be. In that space, beyond the glow of any screen, life quietly waits, full of stories yet to be told. And in that quiet waiting, there's a gentle invitation not to rush towards the next notification or update, but to linger a little longer in the spaces between. To savor the kind of moments that don't come with likes or shares, but with a deep, unspoken sense of belonging. These are the moments that shape our inner worlds, cultivating resilience and empathy in ways that no algorithm ever could. It's a subtle reclaiming of time, yes, but also a reclaiming of ourselves. Because when we step back from the screens, even briefly, we begin to notice things that technology often blurs. The nuanced expressions on someone's face, the unpredictable patterns of nature, or the quiet stirrings of our own thoughts and emotions. These glimpses remind us that human experience is far richer and more complex than any device can capture. And maybe that's the paradox. The very tools designed to connect us sometimes have the power to disconnect us from what matters most. Yet within that tension lies immense possibility. Possibility for choice, for change, and for deeper understanding. It's not about demonizing technology, but about approaching it with awareness and care. After all, our stories are not confined to the pixels on a screen. They live in the spaces we create between our moments of connection, in the breath we take before checking our phones, in the decision to look up just a little longer and truly see. In embracing those spaces, we open ourselves to a fuller way of living, one that honors both the digital and the deeply human. So, as the day unfolds and the world buzzes beneath our fingertips, perhaps the most meaningful act we can commit to is simply this: to be here now, in all its imperfect, beautiful immediacy. Because it is in presence, quiet, deliberate, and unhurried, that life reveals its truest stories. And those are the stories that will carry us forward, long after the screens go dark. Maybe that's the quiet revolution waiting to take place. Not in grand gestures or sweeping changes, but in the small decisions we make every day. Choosing to pause, to breathe, to turn away from the glow of the screen and toward the soft light of our own lives. It's in those spaces between moments that we find something essential. Our capacity to be present, to listen deeply, to connect without distraction. Those spaces remind us that we are more than consumers of endless content. We are storytellers, creators, and witnesses to the unfolding mystery of life itself. And in embracing this subtle balance, we might just find a new kind of freedom. A freedom born not from turning our backs on technology, but from welcoming it as one tool among many, one thread in the rich tapestry of human experience. So, as you go about your day, carrying the hum of devices and the pull of notifications, maybe take a moment to ask yourself, what story do I want to live today? Not the story dictated by algorithms or trends, but the story that comes from this moment, this breath, this connection. Because in the end, life's deepest meaning rarely shouts. It whispers, and if we listen closely, we might just hear it. It's a whisper that invites us to slow down, to notice the subtle colors of a sunset, the quiet kindness in a stranger's smile, or the gentle rhythm of our own heartbeat. These moments don't demand our constant attention, yet they quietly anchor us, reminding us who we are beneath the noise and haste. In a world that often feels like it's rushing ahead without pause, choosing to listen, to truly be present, is a radical act of care for ourselves and for those around us. It's a reminder that our lives are not defined by the speed at which we move or by the screens that light up our faces, but by the depth with which we experience each fleeting instant. And so, the story unfolds not only in the grand milestones or in the flood of digital data, but in the simple, unspoken spaces where being is enough. It is here, in this gentle stillness, that we begin to find our way back to what truly matters.